what is going on. If you own a power washing business and you're trying to grow and scale it, then you are in the right place. What I want to talk about is getting commercial jobs, landing commercial jobs, getting commercial clients, right? Whether you've been, in the business for a while and you've just been doing residential stuff and you kind of want to make that transition into, some higher ticket things with typically recurring contracts, or if you're newer and just kind of want to start off in, more of the commercial space, then what I'm going to tell you should help either of you. But what we're going to cover is a little bit about the difference in, landing commercial jobs, just so that you understand the differences. And then also one of the best ways that we use to actually get our foot in the door with commercial jobs. So let's first break down kind of the difference between, the whole residential job sales cycle and how that kind of operates versus the commercial one. So first things first, with residential, typically speaking, when it comes to residential jobs, you're going to have like one, maybe two decision makers, right? You've got, maybe a husband and a wife, or, someone and their spouse, and all that you have to do is just talk to those people. So it's really easy to get access to them, and typically the decision is fairly quick. Now, on the flip side with commercial, you've typically got, depending on the size of it and kind of what it is, in the beginning of my company, we focused on a lot of small storefront stuff. And some of this was, like mom and pop stuff where they just had one location and it was pretty easy to get access to the actual owner. But, some of the other ones were like banks that had multiple locations, or universities and corporate buildings and things like that. And when you get into those, there's typically layers, right? You've got maybe a manager of just that building, and then a regional manager, and then someone above that. So it's hard to kind of get access to the real decision makers immediately. So here's some things that we kind of did to actually start getting more and more commercial jobs and getting access to some of those decision makers on the commercial side. Now, first things first, I do want to say, this one way brought most of our commercial work, but about 10 to 20% of our commercial work came from, people searching us online, seeing an ad, stuff like that. Marketing can definitely work. All of our marketing was just centered towards residential jobs. That's who we were targeting. We were targeting homeowners when we were marketing most of our services. So it wasn't really targeted towards the commercial side of things. Now, we would run like search ads that were specific to commercial, but most of our outbound marketing stuff that was more, not search advertising, but all the other stuff was directed at residential. So the way that I got in with a lot of commercial jobs, and we were able to get a lot of those recurring jobs where they were signing yearly contracts, we were showing up once a year, twice a year, 4 times, and so on and so forth. What I actually did, and I found this by accident. So every residential house that we were doing, we were a premium service provider for residential clients, right? So we were pretty expensive. I think we were definitely the most expensive in our area. And with that, we served a lot of high-level people. So these people were executives. They were owners of businesses. They were investors in properties and things like that. So what ended up happening was, I would always have conversations. We were at their house. They had already hired us to clean. We were there. I would interact with the customer, build the relationship further, and eventually walk it down the path of, where they work. And that was how we got our foot in the door to actually get the opportunity to bid on these jobs and ultimately land some of these commercial jobs. And it's nice because you've already got that inherent trust, right? If you're at their house cleaning, they already trusted you enough to hire you to come to their house and so that you can clean for them. So that barrier is already broken, and with them being typically, a decision maker or someone that has a lot of sway in the decisions at the commercial properties that they own, work at, whatever it may be, it made it a very easy transition for us to get our foot in the door with those commercial properties. So, long story short, the thing that I encourage you to do if you want to really get into commercial work and you're already doing residential stuff, is to just start talking to those people about where they work, who currently maintains their buildings, all of those things, and that can lead the conversation into the direction of you getting the chance to bid the job and ultimately win more recurring jobs. So it's a super simple thing, and even at first I didn't realize I was doing it. It happened a few times, and then I was like, oh, this works. So then we started purposefully doing it more and more, and that's how we got to the point where, you know, we directed a lot of our conversations, especially with our higher end residential clients, towards where they worked, you know, if they potentially own properties, things like that, and bunch of different scenarios I could give. You know, one was the property management or facility manager over an entire campus, right? There were two different campuses that I personally knew the facility managers of both, and we did jobs at both. So just a simple example. Another one is we worked at a client's house who owned a large company. They had operations everywhere, and that ultimately led to us cleaning some of their local commercial buildings. So a lot of ways that this can happen, and the more time that you build your network, get to know people, do all of these things, you can get more and more opportunities. So that momentum's super important. So not just asking, you know, your residential client tomorrow where they work and then potentially not, you know, having any sway, or maybe they work from home, whatever that may be. You know, don't give up after that. Do it again and again and again, and that momentum will build and opportunities will start to stack on top of each other. So I hope this was super helpful. If it was, please do check below. We've got some links down there, some free gifts for you, things that you can grab to further grow your business and do it faster. And other than that, please subscribe, because I will be dropping more videos trying to help you grow your power washing company. So hope this was super helpful, and I will see you in the next one.